Ok, a ver. Le doy. Ok, en teoría todo debería estar bien. Ok, el Amuse Widget no funciona. No sé fe. Pero bueno. Probando 1, 0, 1, 3, probando audio 1, 0, 1, 3, probando audio. Hola, Graduala, muchas gracias por estar por aquí. Se agradece. Acá ya empezando el directo. La importancia explicada, el sistema explicado del astrólogo parece haberse reescrito y el día en que la fuerza expedicionaria regresa cerca. Esta es la última expedición. El camino caballero se ve con espada y su juramento presencia corazón. Tiempo restante.
Huh? Where'd this letter in our bag come from? Could it just blow in on the breeze?
Entré en una crisis existencial pero de gacha. ¿Por qué? F la invitación del evento. Y hasta ni los gachas me llenaban. Uf. Pero fue momentáneo. Ah, bueno, entonces. Bien. Y ha sido momentario. ¿Dónde está? Ahora se traía por el viento. ¿Dónde iba así, verdad? Como dice que nos vemos. Ajá, nos vimos hace poco, literal ayer. Con conocidos y extraños amigos, cada segundo parece una eternidad. Después de una aventura tan impresionante, no creo que tiene muchas historias para contar. El acantilado hacia correr mi viento y dirá. Cierto bardo.
Oh, it's from the tone deaf bard. Apparently, he wants to hear all about our adventures in not Krai. Maybe we can get some tasty treats out of him in return. Come on, let's go to Star Snatch Cliff.
Supuestamente es porque están haciendo remodelaciones en unas casas. Ah, el internet. Bueno, pasa a veces. En realidad no entiendo. No entiendo el 144. Se corta el internet. Ok, el internet entonces. F entonces. Pero no, sí, muchas gracias por pasar por aquí. Se agradece y gracias por el like el directo. Acá recién haciéndole a Varka porque lo había procrastinado. 144.030. Nah, bueno, no te preocupes, se entiende. Lo importante son las voces. Son los sonidos que encontramos en el camino. Deberían haber puesto un TP por acá, pero... Ah, demasiado lejos. Toca usar el equipo de exploración.
Let's fly.
Behold.
Está 20. ¿Por qué me detuve? Ah, entrada dramática. Como siempre, la lira.
Ah, welcome back, old friend. And how should I be addressing you these days? The honorary knight of Mondstadt? The Tumaini of Natlan? or the great hero of not Krai.
Bueno, solo héroe es como muy aburrido el título. Es por eso que a veces al Illo no le siento como que tiene un título como tal, pero nada, está vivito.
Well, you sure have your finger on the pulse. We've barely caught our breath since not Cry, but it sounds like you've already heard about what went down.
Me acuerdo cuando se tenía que escalar y no había máquinas gigantes que nos subían. Ajá. Uno tenía que escalar o caminar mucho.
News travels fast on the wind. But before I can turn your tales into tunes, I need to hear them from the horse's mouth. My wine and my lyre are at the ready. So please, traveler,
Bueno,
take a seat and tell me your tale.
Pues no sé, Stray, aún si eres Batman ya se está haciendo de día aquí. Batman es nocturno. Bueno, sí se agradece. Ok, no. Dentro del juego es de día. Fuera del juego ya ahorita son las 11, van a ser las 11. No creo llegar a hacer toda la misión hoy, pero bueno. No llego a terminarlo. Lo termino otras bambalinas, o sea, fuera de directo. Espero que no, porque ayer tuve tiempo, pero me quedé hasta tarde para terminar. Recuerda caer las comunidades de Majoris, sí. Caer explorando línea. Me cuentas a mí todo lo que pasó, no creo.
Amazing! Incredible! The Rapier of Solnari and the Doctor? Truly a tale for the ages!
Debo decir, Rayleigh sintió tan hypeado que debieron haber sido 2 actos, ¿no? O sea, 2 versiones, no solo una. Pero bueno.
So, I'm guessing the Wild Hunt is a thing of the past now that you've defeated the Rapier of Solnari?
¿Quién sabe?
Seems that way. We were kind of focused on dealing with the Doctor, though.
Lo que sería no supone amenaza importante.
Well, that's good to hear. Hey, now that the Northern Abyss calamity is finally resolved, Varka must be getting ready for the triumphant return of his expedition, right?
En su campanilla sí termina gastando más huevos fritos que en campanillas.
I haven't seen him in the longest time. He must have so many stories to share.
¿Cómo se conocieron?
Right! Paimon was wondering about that, too. He did call you Barbados. But weren't you so fast asleep back when he was in Mondstadt?
Let's call it half asleep. I was resting my eyes in the Thousand Winds Temple one day when I heard a commotion outside.
Ajá, medio dormido entonces. Claro que está con poca batería. Así. Así que está medio ronco, es que me está empezando a dar tos. Ya como que congestión nasal. Ahorita sigo con un poco, pero ya está como que pasando a tos. Poco a poco. Para mañana estaré tosiendo en vez de estornudar. Lo cual, no sé, sinceramente. Por un lado, al tener la nariz, es solo la nariz, estornudos, es tener una bolsita y papel higiénico en la mano. Pero con la tos tiene su cosa, o sea, es tener que estar cerca de un lugar para un lavadero o un baño por ahí.
It was a young knight who had journeyed there in search of trials and oracles after hearing some tall tales at the local tavern.
Una prueba y una profecía, uff.
In fact, all that awaited him were moss-covered walls and an angry ruin guard. But he seemed completely unfazed, laughing heartily as he sent the ruin guard's missiles flying off into the horizons.
Lástima que no hay modelo de barco más joven, pero ahí está la cosa. Marca.
They must have been making quite a racket if it was enough to wake up the tone-deaf bard.
Yeah, it sounded kinda like...
Ahorita.
Hey! Is that all you've got?
Alguien trata de hacer a lo Varka.
Hey! Is that all you've got?
Debo decir, la voz en inglés le queda cool al ojo.
Oh, bring it on!
Bueno, no, ya fue, es medio sádico. Es medio sádico.
Like that.
Giving up already? You're not half as tough as Varka said.
Tan resistente como Varka de antaño.
A young knight of Favonius trekking out to the Thousand Winds Temple in search of adventure. Now there's a sight I haven't seen in a while.
A bard in green clothes. Does this mean... Oh, you're Venti?
El bardo número 1 de Mostad.
I was just wondering how I was gonna track you down.
Oh, so you were looking for the tone-deaf bard? Strange place to start your search.
La taberna con la de gato, con la alergia de 20 no creo. En una taberna así.
Hold on. Blonde hair, white hair. You must be the honorary knight. And Paimon! The Grand Master talks about you all the time.
Oh.
Allow me to introduce myself. I'm Lowen, Vice Captain of the 5th Company of the Knights of Favonius and a member of the Expeditionary Force.
Con
Pleased to
razones
make your
4
acquaintance.
estrellas. Es subcapitán, no capitán. Pero la quinta. ¿Quién era el capitán de la quinta compañía?
Allow me to introduce myself.
Fuerza
I'm
Expedicional.
Lowen, Vice Captain of the 5th Company of the Knights of Favonius and a member...
A ver. Favonius. Genshin.
Oh, so you're part of the expedition, huh?
Hola, soy aquí Majoris, que por aquí.
Right. So
Acabo
that's
con
why
la tos,
Paimon's
pero...
never seen you around in Mondstadt. Hey, wait a second. We never saw you in Krai
Eso
either.
también, o sea, no creí. Acabamos con los dos, pero no hay mucho lío. ¿Qué tal todo por ahí? Oh, ¿cómo estás? O sea, ya primero fue ayer la gripe, hoy es como que un poco la tos. Mañana supongo que seguiré con la tos. Y luego pasado mañana ya estaría curado, espero.
That's probably because when the wild hunt was still running rampant, I'd spend most of my time out on my own, making mincemeat out of monsters. I barely went back to base at all.
No había mucho, no es mucho lío. No es como el de enero que ahí sí sentía mucha fiebre, estuve en cama un par de días, no podía mover bien. Nada más de chill. En el cero creo que la causa fue haber comido algo de afuera. Pero bueno, se aprende. O bueno, se recuerda.
Then, once the wild hunt calmed down, I got sent back to Mondstadt. Blessing, if you ask me. Sounds like I missed out on some serious action.
No wonder we never saw you while we were dealing with the doctor. So, why did Varka send you back?
No me digas que fue para otra vez.
Deliver some letters.
Uf. Carta. Bueno, sí, gracias por el like, se agradece. Gracias.
There's one for the Knights of Favonius, one for the church, another for the Dawn Winery, at least 10 of them in total.
Uf. ¿Cuánto tiempo para cartas ha hecho Varka?
Jeez, how many people has he sent to deliver his mail now? Mika, Inepa, Lowen. He should just hire a full-time mailman already.
Pero bueno, ¿qué tal todo? ¿Tranquilo el día? ¿Relajado?
In fact, he's earned himself a new nickname. Let's go with Sir Writes a Lot.
Escribe mucho.
I'll have you know that poetry and letters were humanity's earliest means of expressing their thoughts. So, tone deaf or not, I wear the title of bard with pride. And I consider Sir Writes a Lot to be quite a compliment.
Bardo de pacotilla y escritor de pacotilla. Uf. El bardo tendrá competencia.
Wait, really? Darn it!
Anyway, since this young man has come all the way to the Thousand Winds Temple looking for me, I assume he must have a letter for me too.
You sure are. To use the Grand Master's own words.
Oh.
This one is for the bard in green clothes. These days, I think he goes by Venti. Doesn't really have an address as such. You could start by asking around in Mondstadt, or maybe try your luck at the Thousand Winds Temple.
figured that since there was this punching bag here, oh, sorry, ruin guard, I could get some practice in while I was at it. So, I came right here the second I got back to Mondstadt.
Saco de boxeo. Yo andaba en hospital. Oh. Sería cómo estás o ha sido para chequeo, revisión o algo de urgencia. Si es importante primero la salud, estar saludable.
That Varka is
Cuidar
so slapdash sometimes.
enfermedades.
It's a good thing we happen to be
Cuidar siempre las
nearby.
enfermedades.
Oh, he also said to remind you to write back.
Nothing in particular. Just some idle chatter between two drinking buddies. But if I'm supposed to write back this, Varka gave you a whole bunch of letters to deliver, right? Maybe you can head into Mondstadt and deliver the rest of them for...
My thoughts exactly. Assuming I can find the way. Hopefully the roads haven't changed too much since the pre-expedition days.
Bueno, solo es un camino de bajada, así que
Well, why don't we have Mondstadt's honorary knight escort this homeward-bound wanderer to the city? I'm sure some of the recipients of Varka's letters will turn out to be old friends of yours, too.
bueno, está bien.
Go! It's been a while since...
Thank you so much, honorary knight. And you, Miss Guide.
Ya que empieza. Ok, todavía no.
The abyss. The wild hunt. Andreas. Get home safe, Varka.
Ahora sí. Oh, no.
Why do my ears feel so hot all of a sudden?
Lo curioso es cómo empieza la historia. Claro, soy yo, tu audio mal. Ay, no me digas que en serio no. Ok, bueno, muteo eso.
Surely there's no way anyone found the secret stash of cash in my office. That would be terrible.
Dinero secreto.
Grandmaster, bad time to get distracted.
Winfried.
Watch out! Enemies approaching!
Huh? Oh, it's just a few stragglers. They're no real threat to us. This expedition is almost over. We just need to deal with these final few targets, and then...
Va bien, sí. Asumo que es por tener los aves separados.
we will make our triumphant return!
Bueno. Varka C3. Talentos al 10. La piel del lobo. No sé si este sería... La piel del lobo... O sea, no sé si esto es tomando como casi mi barca, creo, porque... La piel del lobo refinamiento 3 es la que tengo. Pero estos sets creo que no. 33% de promo. Vale, vale. Bueno.
Yeah. Stormwind! Maria sweeping in!
Ok, ya casi se acabó. Listo.
Without the ray here of Sonari to direct them, it seems like all that's left is their primal urge to destroy.
If this is all that the Wild Hunt can muster now, surely the Lightkeepers of Krai will be able to deal with what's left.
Just like I thought. What we should be wary of now is...
La autocomplacencia.
Grandmaster, based on Lightkeeper intel and our own reconnaissance, one of the suspected targets should be just up ahead.
Posibles objetivos.
Good. You know the drill. Stay here and stand guard.
Yes, Grandmaster!
Varka. ¿A dónde irá o con quién hablará? Lobito de fuego.
We meet again, Andreas.
Pilar de...
So, you've returned from Mondstadt. Don't you want to see what it looks like now? I was planning to take a look around there myself. Perhaps you could be my guide.
What's this? An echo from 1,000 years ago?
Mira yo. Ok, ya. Estaba bonito el suspenso, pero mucho tiempo.
Everything seems normal so far. Here's hoping I'm just overthinking things. There are 2 other places to check. Maybe this will all go smoothly after all.
Loguito.
It's your turn, my friend. Come, Andreas!
Se ve cool el arma.
Although, for returning to your old home, perhaps Andreas is a little too ostentatious. Might be better to go by
Boreas.
Andres Boreas.
Huh?
Injustice. Corruption. Iniquity.
Fragmento de Boreas.
Is the surface world still as wretched and foul as ever? Answer me, heir to the knighthood of Boreas.
Nombre Boreas.
Looks like I'm not getting out of this without a fight.
Una versión alterna de... ahora sí, Lupus y Majoris Acto 1 para aquellos que estuvieron en la exploración. Ese sí es un buen momento para empezar el título. Ahí asumo que la pelea entre Varka y Boreas, como no hay presupuesto, lo vamos a
That's where things stand with the expedition. The victors will be returning home soon, so make sure to stock up on wine for the celebrations. P.S. I hope everyone's keeping up with their daily training. I'll be testing you all when I get back to make sure no one's regressed.
El entrenamiento de él.
P.P.S. I wrote individual letters for each and every one of you. Don't forget to write back.
Everyone gets one? Wow! Sir Writes a Lot is really living up to his name.
I guess the Grand Master must have something specific to say to each of us.
Pero,
Even I got a letter, and I'm not a real knight yet.
Jean?
Oh, yes. That's our Grand Master for you.
By the way, anyone know where I can find the cavalry captain? I have a letter for him as well.
Vaya. Uf. ¿Cómo ha crecido el grupo de Mondstadt? Poco a poco más gente.
You mean Kaya? He said he was meeting a friend from the church at the Angel's Share.
Ah, Rosario.
Allegedly for work. Said he was exchanging intel. But I'd say there's a 50-50 chance he's just there for a drink.
Información de la iglesia de Favorios. Ajá.
Paimon bets there'll be lots of familiar faces there. How about we deliver Kaya's letter?
Really? Oh, that would be a great help.
Our thanks to you too, Lowen. The other knights will help distribute the remaining letters. You've had a long journey. Please go get some rest.
Great. But I won't be resting just yet. I have one last letter to deliver to Wolvendom. This one, I was planning on delivering personally.
Uf.
I heard that another challenger recently passed Boreas' trial. Well, with any luck, that wolf might be willing to reveal himself to me, too.
Le pasaron sobre la prueba de Boreas. Él está vivito.
Very well, but please remember to show respect to the local wolves.
I will. Goodbye.
Y se va. Ah, ya no. Ah, no. Bueno, sí están. No sé, ya no hay nadie, pero no, sí hay algunos, pero están en diferentes lugares.
Grandmaster offered lots of advice in his letter regarding my recent assessments. I didn't think he'd spare a thought for that kind of thing in the middle of an expedition.
Hola, Fabris.
So, honorary knight, if you have the time,
Ajá,
do you think you could help me out with my
Hola,
special
Edmund.
training?
Muchas gracias por estar aquí, se agradece. No hay problema, Fabris. A ver. Amigos. Marca, a ver. Está bien su arma. Set 0 1 10 5. Está mal. Ah, sí. Familia ataque, 214 de fe, maestría. De 8 a 53. No está mal. Ah, bueno, daño piro. Ah, luego está junto. Pues sí, no está mal. El C artefactos ayuda a conseguir 20% de pro, entonces en teoría sería 98. Así que casi 100, entonces está bien. Lo cual me hace preguntar los artefactos, a ver. Maestría, ataque, pro, daño. Está bien, 12 daño crítico. Bueno, 1 de daño crítico. Pro y lo más maestría. Daño crítico, pro, maestría elemental. F la defensa, pero bueno, si entiende es difícil. O sea, llego a subir a una cantidad considerable, así que... Ataque, pro, daño crítico, maestría. Unas veces a pro y 2 veces a maestría. Bueno, no. 2 veces a daño crítico, una maestría. Okay. Daño piro, 14.8, 5, maestría. 2, pro, ataque, maestría, ataque. Pues sí, no está mal. Está cool. El margen de mejora es tan chiquito que es como que ya para mejor o pasar a otra persona, pero otro personaje, pero sí está bien hecho, bien bugueado Varka. Porque sí, sabes como no había personajes, uno podría intentar seguir buildeando, pero es la cantidad de resina que uno gastaría no va con la inversión que sería para seguir mejorando eso. Gastarías un montón en resina y no habría seguridad de que fuera suficiente para subir.
Grandmaster offered lots of advice. So, honorary knight, if you have the time.
Okay. Era entrenar, Eula.
He wants to test me to see if my skills have regressed? I still haven't forgotten how he went easy on me last time. I'm assuming you must have seen him going all out before. When the time comes, you'd better keep an eye on him for me.
Bueno, Varka ayudó a tirar la luna hacia nosotros, así que... Okay, listo.
Ah, the Grand Master. The archives are filled with documents awaiting his review. I'm not letting him run off again until he's finished dealing with every last one.
F el papeleo, Varka.
On another note, have you spoken to Jean? I hope she'll finally be able to relax a little once Varka returns.
Que dejaría de ser la gran maestra en... Oh, ahí está.
Okay, we'll deliver these letters to the Adventurers Guild and the Cat's Tail. You can just handle the ones for the Angel share.
The expedition is finally wrapping up. Oh, I hope the maps I made on our way there are good enough to get them safely home.
Y otros que solo están ahí para dar la sensación de que hay algo de vida. Sacarosa.
The Grand Master wrote in his letter that the Boom Blossom bombs we sent worked really well. He wants to know if we've made any more.
Hmm. Ah. Ok, Jin. ¿Qué pasa?
Honorary Knight, you're still here?
No tarda en irme, pero alguna preocupación.
Is it that obvious?
Huh? But Varka's coming back. The situation in Krai is stable. Surely things are looking up.
True. From what you and Lowen have told me, the expedition has indeed accomplished its strategic objectives. It seems that Mondstadt no longer faces any threat from the perils of the North, be they the Wild Hunt or the Doctor. And yet, for some reason, I can't help but recall something the Grandmaster said to me before he left.
If I don't make it back from this expedition, you'll have to assume the mantle of Grand Master of the Knights of Favonius. If it comes to that, remember to train the next Knight of Boreas in my stead.
Intentará el próximo caballero Boreas por mí.
If I don't make it back from this expedition, if it comes to that, remember to train the next Knight of Boreas in my stead. I've planted some promising seeds in Mondstadt, but they still need time to grow.
Noel, Rey, Sori, no sé quién más sería.
Some have yet to master the art of social interaction. Some don't yet understand that they too need protecting. And some, well, some might not even want to be a knight yet.
Sí, look. El señor de noche.
What's wrong? Well, there's no need to frown. I'm going on an expedition, not marching to my death. This is all just a contingency plan in the event that I'm unable to return.
Exacto, planes de emergencia.
Until I return, I leave them in your care.
The lineage of the Knights of Boreas has nearly been extinguished twice in Mondstadt's history.
Punto de extinguirse en 2 ocasiones.
The first wandering knight to claim the title arrived in Mondstadt 1,000 years ago, along with his wolf companion.
Loge, no era Loge, era el otro que no me acuerdo cómo se llama.
He was as free as the wind. He left no succession plan behind. Even his name was lost to history. The title of Boreas could have disappeared from Mondstadt just as he did.
Al igual que el primero es como sucesión o...
But he had an informal disciple, a knight named Ravenwood, who admired the Knight of Boreas greatly. Ravenwood's valor and swordsmanship earned him the wolf spirit's recognition. When the old aristocracy tried to regain power, Ravenwood came once more to Mondstadt's defense. From then on, the title of Knight of Boreas was passed down from generation to generation within the Knights of Favonius.
Los antiguos aristócratas intentaron contra...
Wolf spirit? You mean that big blue wolf in Wolfenden?
Correct. As you may already know, the Wolf of the North is the surviving spirit of an ancient god.
Boreas es el nuevo vestigio de Andrius.
And the Knight of Boreas serves as an intermediary between him and humanity. Lupus Boreas, who had never known what it meant to love, came to understand it through the journey with his human companion. In the end, he chose to allow his power to become one with the land.
Voy a aprovechar de dar una siesta mientras que el texto corre.
This was once a well-known tale in Mondstadt, but these days, few people are aware that the starting point of the Wolf King's journey was not Mondstadt, but Krai.
Huh?
The great Wolf King of the North came here from Krai. Although he doesn't like to speak of his past. In fact, he rarely shows himself to people at all nowadays. As such, this tale can only be found deep within the Knights of Favonius library. Even among the Knights of Favonius, few are aware of it. The Grand Master didn't disclose any concrete objectives before departing on his expedition. I couldn't help but wonder whether it might somehow be related to Krai's Wolf of the North. I kept my speculations to myself, however. Sharing them would only spread unwarranted suspicion toward the Four Winds among the people of Mondstadt. You experienced the turmoil caused by Deval and the East Wind's actions for yourself. Surely you can understand my concern?
No wonder Varka wasn't clear about his motives. Is that what he was worried about?
Very possibly. He was probably also reserving judgment. Having heard about your experiences in Krai, I now suspect that the Grand Master hadn't yet ascertained the true identity of our enemy at that time. And as it turns out, the calamity born in the north wasn't an ancient god, but rather the Wild Hunt and the Doctor. I guess we were both jumping to conclusions. Yes, I completely agree. The tide can turn rapidly in times of battle. It's a leader's responsibility to prepare for every possible contingency. Even if his contingency plan never needs to be put into action, I'm sure the Grandmaster is relieved to know that it's in place. Thank you for being such a patient listener. I feel much more settled after talking with you. If you have any spare time, would you mind stopping off to say hello?
That turned into a pretty long conversation, huh? We should probably go deliver those letters to the angel share now.
Bring it! Yep.
Raya. Ok, data ver. Y como hay texto,
When you're mixing drinks in hot weather, start by pouring in cold water and add ice cubes. Then drain out the water before adding the other ingredients. How's that for a secret recipe? Maybe it's worth a little intel in return.
Please. I've known that little trick for a good 10 years at least. You'll have to offer something a little more substantial if you're serious about trading.
I know there's no one else in the tavern right now, but do you two really need to talk so loudly? Especially if you're supposed to be exchanging confidential information.
Hiya! Rosaria! D-Luke! I knew we'd find you here.
Looks like it's about to get even noisier.
A little liveliness never killed anyone. Traveler, Paimon, what brings you our way?
A carta.
Please allow me to once again express my sincere condolences regarding your late father and the incident with Eric. We make absolutely no excuse for his crimes. I hope you will give some serious consideration to the question I asked you before I left, though I'm sure you're tired of hearing me ask by now. The Knights of Favonius will always welcome you.
From the look on your face, I'm guessing the Grand Master is still refusing to drop it?
He nags like an old man. It's hardly surprising.
Huh? Drop what? What's this about?
Nothing, really. Before leaving on the expedition, Varka came here to chat with me over a drink. I failed to avoid him. He, asked me if I'd consider rejoining the Knights of Favonius, and I declined. He expressed his regret about everything that happened, and asked me to reconsider. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, right. Sounds like you
Whatever details I chose to omit are in the past. Dragging them back up now serves no purpose.
Exacto, eso está en el manga y en el manga nada más. Tiene más curiosidad, pues. Manga.
You say that now, but back then, you couldn't let it go. You and the Knights of Favonius were constantly at odds.
I wasn't seeing the full picture. I've had a lot of time to reflect since then. But my answer remains unchanged. I'm not rejoining the Knights of Favonius. Both the Grandmaster and the acting Grandmaster are too upright and honorable. I can't see the shadows that lurk beneath them due to the size of the organization they lead. They need someone on the outside to keep watch vigilantly.
If I had a Mora for every time I've heard you repeat that argument. I actually don't disagree with the first part of what you said, but don't you think someone can keep tabs on things from the inside?
When you join an organization, you're bound by its rules, no matter how free it may seem on the surface.
You think so? Never mind the Knights. Have you honestly ever been bound by the rules of the Church?
Good question. Have you considered that maybe that's why I chose to join the Church and not the Knights to begin with?
Are they arguing or not? It's kind of hard to tell.
Momento, me están llamando. coffee. Okay, so.
Oh, kind of like the contingencies Jean was talking about. The more ways they have to protect their home, the better. Huh? Traveler?
We should, take a break after all that running around. Yeah, let's rest here for a bit. My potted plant on the porch has died again. I was watering it every day. Ugh, don't tell me I overdid it this time.
Vaya.
What should I report back to the Grand Master on? Let me think. Public order inside the city? Monster activity in the wild? Oh, and a review of the latest vintages. I think I'll leave it at that.
My reply won't be a long one, as usual. I'm sure Varka won't be surprised. My reply won't be a long one.
Simple, breve y fácil. Estaría Rosario, que asumo que está arriba. Ah, sí, estaba arriba.
If you hadn't had to deliver that guy's mail, you wouldn't have been subjected to all this tedious arguing. When I write back, I'll tell him to quit making trouble for other people.
It's no trouble. Lowen did most of the work. We just volunteered to do the last leg of the journey. Mostly so we could come say hello.
O sea, no fue discusión, fue un mismo objetivo en diferentes ángulos.
So you see what's really going on here? All three of us fell for that old rascal's scheme far too readily.
La trampa del viejo por voluntad propia. Oh.
Huh? Scheme? What do you mean? Was lying in his letters then?
No. While I'm sure Varka knows full well that Diluc would never agree to rejoin the Knights, I believe the sentiments he expressed were genuine, as was his offer to welcome Diluc back.
Ajá, entonces.
There are people like Kaya and I, and then there are those who are true champions of justice to the core. Those people are the most susceptible to being driven to extremes by great upheaval. It's happened in Mondstadt before.
Los paladines de la justicia más puros. Uf. También son los más propensos a caer en el extremismo cuando sufren un cambio drástico en su vida.
There are people like Kaya and I, and then there are those who are true champions of justice to the core. Those people are the most susceptible to being driven to extremes by great upheaval. It's happened in Mondstadt before. Not only that, but it happened to a Knight of Boreas. That'll really hit home for Varka. And that's why his nagging is even more persistent than usual.
Espera, ¿Diluc iba a ser caballero de Boreas? ¿Cómo?
Yeah. So no one's told you this before? The lineage of the Knights of Boreas had nearly been extinguished twice in history. The first was at its inception. The second was the case I was alluding to.
El de ahorita, en serio, pero Varka sigue vivo. Ahora, ¿ya te vas a ir o llegaste? Ah, no, bueno, sí. Ah, justo había llegado. Bueno, hacer minutos. Sí, se me olvidó.
Oh! Wasn't Jean telling us about this? Wait. And then we got caught up talking about the expedition, and we never got around to the second time.
Sí.
I happened to hear about it from Varka once when he was drinking and started yammering on. The second crisis in the Knights of Boreas lineage. It was 500 years ago.
500 años. Oh. Bueno,
Although the Knights of Boreas are meant to be intermediaries between humans and wolves, in practice, very few of them have been truly recognized by Lupus Boreas over the past millennium.
En 1000 años no han sido muchos los que realmente obtuvieron el conocimiento de Boreas.
Of those who have, the best known are the first Knight of Boreas, Ravenwood, the wolf pup Rostam, and Varka himself.
El caballero de Boreas, el aprendiz, el cachorro de lobo. Ah.
But 500 years ago, there was one who earned the respect of Boreas even before gaining the title.
Ooh.
He was a disciple of Rostam. They thought he would become the mightiest Knight of Boreas who ever lived.
Cachorro de lobo.
Of those who have, the best known are the first Knight of Boreas, Ravenwood, the wolf pup Rostam, and Varka himself.
Entonces, si algún día llegamos a al pasado, 500 años atrás, veríamos a Rostam, cachorro de lobo.
He was the perfect knight, righteous, principled. His name was Roland, the blood-stained knight.
Oh, no. El caballero sanguinario. El Set.
Yikes! Bloodstained Knight? That sounds a little ominous.
Well, apparently his original title was the White Knight.
Caballero blanco.
But he lost countless comrades during the Abyssal Calamity 500 years ago, including his tutor and mentor, Rostam.
Mentor y maestro.
He was the perfect knight, righteous, principled. His name was Roland, the blood-stained knight. The endless bloodshed stained his sword and armor a crimson as deep as black, transforming the White Knight into the blood-stained knight.
Todas que muestra cada vez que aumente sus filas, brujas, entre ellas una celia, una sombra, un dragón, caballero, alegre y lobos. Ya que sí, o sea, es como... Cuando uno empieza Genshin y dice, vamos a ser la primera nación, será la más débil. Luego te das el lore y te dices, bueno, con razón su arconde ha estado vivo la misma cantidad que Chun-Li. Supongo que por esa línea es que también han hecho que Monsta tenga este look.
After that, he threw himself completely into battling monsters, leaving Mondstadt and the Knights of Favonius behind. To this day, no one knows his final whereabouts. It's hard to say whether the loss of an important figure in his life is what drove him to the point of obsession, or whether he was already too far gone to save. But had he known that the Knights of Favonius would always welcome him back, perhaps things would have turned out differently.
Sería un what if de Diluc. Aunque también es cierto que Diluc durante un tiempo estuvo fuera.
So if you want my opinion, the reason why Varka keeps asking Diluc to rejoin, despite knowing that he'll never say yes, is to let him know you're not alone. After all these years, he's still as persistent as ever. Just like how he used to be with me.
Flashback.
Huh. Turns out Varka's a lot more thoughtful than he lets on. Paimon had the wrong idea about him.
Hombre de las paz y puedes no quererle más.
Anyway, there's still something about this whole Boreas business that Paimon isn't really getting. Wasn't Andreas a god in Mondstadt thousands of years in the past?
¿Quién sabe?
If so, why did Jean say that Boreas and the Wandering Knight only arrived here just 1,000 years ago? Plus, Paimon's super curious about what happened to Roland.
Preguntar al lobo en cuestión.
That's a great idea! Jean said he has...
Y, bueno, es que sean...
What should I report back? Public order inside the city? Monster activity in the wild?
Ok, no es... Nada, bueno, es el mismo personaje, pero... Dios. No, sigue estando ahí Rosario.
Let me guess. You're heading to Wolvendom next? Say hi to Razor for me. Oh, but I'm not helping him write his response to Varka. He needs to learn to be independent.
Razor. Va a necesitar la ayuda de Elisa. O quién sabe. ¿Podrá Razor escribir una carta por sí solo? Uf. Qué misterio. Esto me suena que habría cinemática. No, no hay cinemática.
What's going on here? The Wild Hunt? What are they doing here? Watch out!
Burn it down!
Hold on to your hats.
Let's fly! Bullseye!
Este equipo no es lo mejor para esto, pero...
Now I'm all...
Light of the blazing sun!
Pero necesito comida para curar. Bueno, pues F.
Light it up!
Hear the echoes of the valley!
Fire in the hole!
No.
Wrath from the skies!
Is this our fate?
No olvidé que estoy cayendo.
Swarm Fury!
Unsightly insects!
Take me up! Bullseye! Open fire!
Bring it!
The wind rises.
No podré cambiar el equipo, ¿verdad? Creo que no. Ok, curar. Necesito curar mis... personaje.
Let the mountain's veins boil! Hold on to your hats. Rise with the sun!
Squall fury! Wretched vermin!
Light of the blazing sun!
Ya solo queda grande.
Bullseye! Bring it! Wrath from the skies! Try and stop me! Hear the echoes of the valley! Knock them down! Ha! Locked on! Bullseye!
Ya está. Ahora busco un equipo.
Right? Oh no! What now? There better not be more wild hunt monsters!
Ah, lógico.
Stop right there. Answer me this. The 2 letters I gave you, who are they for?
2 letters? Wasn't it 3?
Gaia, Diluc, Rosaria.
Okay. Well, Paimon's coolest naive expression doesn't appear to be an act.
Exacto. Ah, mira, se nota que el tipo tiene experiencia con la cacería. Sabe que la cacería puede hacer ilusiones de personas que consideran cercanas.
Hey! What are you trying to say?
Dice que has pasado su prueba.
Paimon passed a test? Really? Ha! She didn't even realize she was taking one!
You may dispense with your suspicions. The wolf pack has borne witness. They fought against the aberrations that encroached upon this land. And our attackers showed no ability to disguise themselves.
Well, if the boss of Wolvendom has vouched for you, I guess I should apologize for doubting you just now.
Nah, nunca se más estar.
Sure was. Fortunately, my experience in Krai didn't go to waste. Turns out the Wild Hunt all feel the same when you stab them. They didn't stand a chance.
No, en serio, se me hace pensar que este podría ser 5 estrellas, o si no es, porque tiene que ser cool, si no su personalidad alabre, no sé.
Something seems wrong with that old wolf, though. Go on, you should check on him.
Bueno. Ah, no se pilla más grande juego. No, bueno, como tengo que pelear con ese equipo. Andrews. Oh, mira, Razor.
Lupus Boreas, not injured. Why so weak? Am I not strong enough?
You are not to blame. With your iron claw, you successfully blocked their attacks. However, they followed my trail from the distant north across the ley lines. They sought to corrupt the territory I protect. But I shall not let them succeed without a fight.
Romper el territorio con pretensión. Usando la línea es ley.
We meet again, human Lupicon.
So, are you saying that the wild...
As you know, I stand before you as an incomplete being. I am but one remnant of the god Andreas' soul.
Un alma residual, o sea, una parte de...
The source of this turmoil. I can sense it. It lies in the north. It is the part of me that remains in Krai.
Huh? Now Paimon's even more confused.
A
How can
todos
he be
le...
in two places at once?
A todos les gusta dividirse en diferentes partes,
For many gods, housing a part of their soul within an object is no difficult feat. But those who can perform such delicate partitions as this are rare, even among the gods. The Wolf King, Andreas, was particularly adept in this art. Otherwise, no remnants of his soul would have survived till the present day.
Todo este arte. No era realmente su alma que hubiera podido probar hasta hoy.
Huh? The bard's back?
Toad Bard?
Maybe the god of Animo guided me here. For it appears that someone is in need of a tale from the distant past. Maybe the god of Animo guided me here. For it appears that someone is in need of a tale from the distant past. And our wolf friend doesn't seem too keen on recounting it himself. Who better than a bard to do the honors? Lord Boreas, do I have your blessing to share this story?
Ajá.
As you wish.
Como quieras.
Lupus Boreas wandered the frozen tundra and stumbled into the Sealy Hall. Enchanted by their song, tender as the dawn starlight, and curious about the ways of humankind, the wolf bade farewell to his home and set off for the city to the south.
El rey lobo vagaba por la tundra helada. Irrumpió en el salón de los celes. Canto dulce del estrella alba. Curiosidad por la raza humana partió del cielo y el sur.
As the high tower crumbled and the fierce winds fell silent, Lupus Boreas, who once had hunted with the storm winds himself, looked within and inquired, was the shelter he provided for humanity really any different from that given by the reclusive king in his tower?
La torre se rompió, el viento feroz cesó y el rey lobo que una vez junto a la tormenta cazó.
The wolf entrusted those under his protection to a new god and quietly returned to the frozen north. There, in a palace long since abandoned by its former master, the great wolf closed his eyes and slept.
El lobo cerró los ojos y fue a dormir.
500 bitter winters passed, then 500 equally frigid springs. He slumbered undisturbed until a night stumbled in from the cold. Just as Lupus Boreas had once done at the Sealy Hall, the knight asked the wolf to join him on a journey south, to see once more the land that had all but faded from his memory. The gentle wolf, unwilling to refuse the human's earnest plea, split his soul into two halves and left his home once more.
Camino de regreso. El bondadoso lobo no quiso rechazar el suelo del humano, así que partió con su alma para acompañar caballeros de viaje lejano.
seeing how the ice and snow had given way to verdant plains, hearing the laughter and song that now filled the once somber city, the aging Lupus Boreas turned to his friend, the god of Animo, and remarked, "So, this is the world the humans dreamed of." Though the knight's journey was not yet over, the wolf chose to bid farewell to his companion here. He had written the end to his story. What knowledge he had been gifted flowed into the land. Everything he was, he gave unto the world. Well, that's how a bard would tell the tale.
There is no need for you to ask that question.
No quiero corregir.
So that's what happened. You returned to Mondstadt with that knight 1,000 years ago, and then, for the sake of the new Mondstadt, you...
You need not feel remorse on my account. That was my answer, my decision. If anyone should feel regret, it is the part of me who remained and not Krai. I fear Andreas has not found peace in his heart even to this day. That is surely why those vile aberrations were able to exploit his weakness.
But we followed Boreas' trail in Nodcry. We
Andreas should still be slumbering by the lakeside. And there's more. I detect another familiar scent from across the ley lines.
Oh, the white knight who became the Bloodstained Knight?
I remember him as just a man. His lifespan should be no longer than any other of his kind. But before he severed his connection to Boreas, his final destination, it was the ancient kingdom of Conria, as you call it. Beyond that, I know not if he lived or died.
El último lugar al que fue.
If you want to get to the bottom of this, I'm afraid you'll have to make another trip to Nodcry yourselves.
Bueno, supongo que Canry todavía nada.
As luck would have it, another old friend of ours just so happens to be free right now.
No wonder I can suddenly sense the east wind's presence.
El guardián del este.
If even Mondstadt has been affected by the fallout, Nodcry must be in real trouble by now. I hope Varka can handle it.
Varka? Is he in danger?
I believe too many passengers would slow our dear friend down. I fear he only has room to carry one person, along with perhaps a diminutive companion.
All right. Wish it could be me, but I accept that we should send our strongest warrior to fight Nodcry's battles. I'll stay here and deal with any wild hunt that try harassing Mondstadt. It'll be a good chance to try out some new moves.
I stay in Mondstadt.
Razor, give me your iron claw.
Espada de hierro. Espadita como espada. Espadita más cheta.
Golden-haired traveler, give this token to the current knight of Boreas. It is a wolf spirit. It contains my power and thoughts. Though I have given him a piece before, this should bring him new strength.
El espíritu luego contiene mi poder en pensamientos. Una parte de esto debería tocar una.
The dominator of wolves once bestowed the power of his soul upon his pack, strengthening their hearts and sharpening their claws and fangs.
But human hearts and flesh cannot bear the soul of a wolf directly. It would be akin to forcefully merging a human and a wolf into one being. They would descend into chaos to prevent the entanglement of souls. The most I can do is temporarily house my power and thoughts within claws and fangs wrought of steel.
Almacenar mi poder y pensamientos en la garra de hierro.
Although, truth be told, that knight does not lack for power. What he needs more is the thoughts within. But I shall leave that. The great wolf king of the north remains strong.
I will protect Lupakal. The north and Varka, I leave to you.
Just give me the word whenever.
I can read.
A wolf's claws make poor instruments for writing human.
I can read Varka's letter.
Okay,
I sure didn't expect my experience fighting the wild-hunted Krai to come in handy back here in Mondstadt. Also, how come that bard knows so much, and what was he doing at the Thousand Winds Temple? Well, whatever. I don't really care. As long as I get to do some fighting. I'm looking forward to trading blows with Lupus Boreas when he's fully recovered. I bet.
Okay.
Any questions before you set off? Better ask now. You'll probably have to hit the ground running when you get to Krai. The root of this turmoil lies with the remnant soul that Andreas, dominator of wolves and god, he once left Krai and braved the blizzards to confront the god of storms and claim the right to rule. Instead, he returned to the north and slumbered for 1,000 years before finally journeying back, under the name of Boreas, with the first knight of Boreas to witness the new face of Mondstadt. When the wolf spirit could no longer maintain his physical form, Boreas chose to pour his power into the ley lines. With that, he became the North Wind of Mondstadt, as he is still known to this day. Any questions before you set off? Better ask now. You'll probably have to hit the ground. 500 years ago, Roland seemed he believed firmly in his own ideals of chivalry, vowing to eliminate all injustice from the world. Neither his mentor, the wolf pup Rostam, nor the Grand Master, known as the Lion of Light, could persuade him to temper his obsession. But what was the scent that reeks of blood that Lupus Boreas sensed? And what is its connection to Conria and the Abyss? Perhaps you will uncover the truth in Krai. Any questions before you set off? Better ask now. You'll probably have to hit the ground running when you get to Krai. The soul of a wolf is as unyielding as ice, but human hearts, and that's why Lupus Boreas developed the technique of imbuing. In fact, there is an ancient song that tells this tale. A weapon once of common iron, now through friendship turned divine. Twixt man and wolf a bond was made, a power born within the blade. As much as he might claim not to accept humans, any questions before you set off? All right, over to you, Dvalin!
The Knight of Boreas awaits below. We must part ways here. Barbatos and I have other plans.
All right. Hey, wait. How are we getting down?
Okay.
Hold the line! The enemy's on the brink of collapse!
Grand Master! It's...
Haha! Reinforcements! It's about time!
Caballero honorario presente, gran maestre.
And Paimon too!
Tremenda tirada del cielo. ¿Cuál es la situación?
We're just about hanging in there. Most of their grunts are taken care of now. Their leader's gonna have to make a decision soon. Fight or flight? What will it be, mightiest knight of Boreas?
As expected, this hastily summoned Wild Hunt horde is nothing but a disorganized rabble. A mere shadow of the forces gathered by the Rahir of Solnari. But they have served their purpose. I now understand your tactics. Farewell, heir to the knighthood of Boreas. Whether you choose to resist me or not, I shall set right the injustices of this world. In the name of the blood-stained knight.
Guess they're retreating for now.
So that Wolf of the North look-alike, that was Andreas? But why would he be leading the Wild Hunt? Ugh, forget that. We can save the details for later.
There's no point chasing after him. We've crossed blades already, and it ended in a stalemate. Right now, there's nothing we could do about him.
Parece muy fuerte. Eso sí.
True. We're still not certain of his true identity, but whether he's a god corrupted by the abyss or a legendary knight, killing him might be just about possible. Especially now that you're here. The difficult part is, we can't kill him.
Huh? What do you mean?
No. Judging from our skirmishes so far, I don't think he's got any special abilities of that caliber. Nor does he have the ridiculous level of power wielded by the Five Sinners. But, compared to Rerir, our current foe clearly has a better understanding of how to exploit Krai to his advantage. Particularly when it comes to Andreas' remnant soul.
Los restos divinos.
Exactly. Sounds like you realize what the crux of the issue is. I managed to cut off a sample from our foe, which Albedo and Durin are analyzing as we speak. Meanwhile, our other allies should be making their way home from their own battles by now. Let's discuss this further when they're back. We still have some big challenges ahead before this expedition can finally be declared a victory.
The meeting's probably gonna be in the biggest tent, right? Looks like a bunch of people are there already. Why don't we go chat with them?
Hey, good to see you again. Oh, Boss Sneff asked me to pass on a message. She went to see Lauma and Columbina at the Frost Moon Scions. Apparently, there haven't been any changes to that space the Rahir of Solnari's in.
That means the recent Wild Hunt attacks have nothing to do with Rerir, right?
They're keeping a close watch on it just in case. With so... Oh yeah! Lauma and Columbina asked me to pass on a message too. Focus on the enemy you are facing. The moon will protect you all. You know something? These Knights of Favonius are paying me a pretty nice sum to deliver a few simple messages.
Fin. Tengo que le dejar, pero estoy con el sueño.
Short distance propulsion module on cooldown. 15 minutes until next departure. Switching to chat mode. Hello there, Paimon, traveler. Varka placed a sizable order with the Clink Clink Krumkake craft shop. I know is hard at work producing the strategic reserve, while I am handling the delivery. Secondly, I am also here to attend the meeting in her place.
Huh? Flins! Paimon thought the Lightkeeper's rep would...
You're quite right.
However, Itlua and Nikita are both busy organizing the Ratniki's region-wide response to the recent attacks. And since I'm well acquainted with everyone else here, I was the one they recommended to attend the meeting.
Bueno.
Sometimes you don't get a choice when there might be consequences down the line.
Una reunión.
Hey, Honorary Knight. Looks like pretty much everyone's here. Beto and Durin are just wrapping up their analysis. You want to wait for them here? Great. While we're waiting... And that's where things stand. The Wild Hunt is no longer under the Reikir of Solnari's control, but it has been reborn from the ashes and is now launching widespread attacks. Intel from the Frost Moon Scions and the Curatorium of Secrets corroborates this. No disturbances have been detected in the space where Rere resides. What we are facing here is a completely new foe.
Summarizing current situation. To confirm, the present leader of the Wild Hunt is the creature resembling a wolf. Andrius, god of the North Wind.
More precisely, it's the external will that has seized control of Andrius' spirit, namely Roland, the Bloodstained Knight.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Hold on. How'd he suddenly get wrapped up with a god from 1,000 years in the past and the present-day Wild Hunt?
Allow us to explain that part. Are you familiar with compensation mechanisms? When an organism sustains damage, relevant tissues will undergo changes to offset the loss of function. For example, when one kidney is damaged, the other will be strengthened to compensate. Or, similarly, when the Wild Hunt lost their leader, the Abyss harnessed the memories that flow throughout the ley lines to fashion a new one, fit for the present circumstances. That new leader is a mirror image of Roland, the Bloodstained Knight.
Right. No matter how strong the compensation is, it will never quite match the functionality of the original organ.
Ok, entonces la de Varka no era tan...
The Roland replica can't possibly imitate Rere's overwhelming power, nor his ability to disguise himself as others. So, the Abyss made use of the connection between Roland and Boreas to compensate for this lack of power.
The replica corrupted and took control of Andrius as he slumbered by the bank of Amsvartnir, ultimately manifesting as the giant beast that you all witnessed. However, exactly why the Abyss chose Roland to mimic, and indeed how it was able to do so.
I guess he must have gotten caught up with the Abyss or Krai somehow during his wanderings through Tevat. But we can keep those questions on the back burner.
Hello.
Okay, Paimon gets all that, but what?
We can't kill him right now because a dead god may prove more dangerous than a living one. From intelligence gathered during the expedition, we have reason to believe that the power released when a god is felled can have catastrophic consequences for us mortals. Worse still, the wrath that remains after a god's passing becomes a source of endless turmoil. Once god remains contaminate the land, they will persist for thousands of years. This land has already been ravaged by the Wild Hunt. If we add god remains to the mix, it'd be like adding salt to an open wound, placing everyone who lives here in perilous danger.
Query. While I can indeed find records of disasters caused by god remains in my database, there also appear to be cases of gods dying naturally with no ill effects. In that land, the passing of the Pyro-Archon's flame is a common occurrence throughout history, and even the part of Andrius who remains in Mondstadt has experienced death once before, has he not?
Great question. Glad you asked. Honorary Knight, you said Lupus Boreas gave you a... Come forth, Boreas!
Habíamos pasado.
This form has come to the end of its time. My soul will fall into silence, and my power will flow into the ley lines of this land. Perhaps this is all that a wolf can hope to do for humankind. Do not grieve for me, for this is the end I have chosen. Instead, a final wish before I slumber.
Una canción.
You saw it too. You must have keen powers of perception. Not that it surprises me. That was Boreas' final thoughts before merging with the ley lines. It's the reason Mondstadt remains unharmed by his god remains.
Funciona con las líneas ley.
In his final moments, he made a choice to give everything he was to the ley lines. All to protect Mondstadt from harm.
Sounds like Andreas spent thousands of years searching for his place in the world.
Yes. And now our task is to return the answer he found, the decision he made, to Andreas' heart. Only then can he break free from the corruption and control of the Abyss, and make that decision once more.
I see. I would say that planting thoughts inside the mind of a god sounds a little far-fetched.
Wait, we already have a perfect solution?
Ha ha ha. If only it were that simple. Unfortunately, this one thought alone is unlikely to be powerful enough to break through the Abyss's control and reach Andreas' heart. We need to find a way to make the thought within this sword stronger and more resilient.
For now, Boreas needs all his remaining strength to fight against the abyssal corruption to Mondstadt's ley lines. He can't afford to send us any more of his power. However, since his form was unstable during his journey with the first night of Boreas, many wolf spirit if we can collect those fragments, we can use them to strengthen the decision to merge with the ley lines.
So we need to retrace his steps and look for random fragments?
You don't need to worry about that. There's a few fragments left to gather in Krai, but apart from that, most of them are already inside this sword.
Huh?
I mean, it's an expedition, not a stroll in the park. Each step of the way, we've been hard at work planning for every possible contingency. Not just the wild hunt in the Abyss, but ancient gods remaining in Krai.
Sounds like this plan was a long time in the making. It's almost as if you foresaw the future.
As a matter of fact, I did. I caught a glimpse of fate's reflection. But I can't take credit for it. It was all thanks to the help of a few friends. Still, all I foresaw was that an abyssal calamity was brewing in the north. Had I known more, we could have saved a lot of energy. Instead, we've had to make best guesses, prepare for every possible scenario. If all that preparation went to waste, all the better for it. But anything that proved useful, we knew we'd be grateful for down the line. Sure is. Just one crucial step remains. We need to gather the last few wolf spirit fragments scattered around Krai. According to what Boreas told me before we left Mondstadt, his form was at its most unstable at the beginning of his journey. That means the fragments here should be the most powerful ones. But of course, we've been tied up fighting battles since the day we set foot in Krai. First with the Wild Hunt, then with the Doctor. So, it wasn't until recently that we were finally able to confirm the status of the wolf spirit fragments. We now know there are 3 left to find.
Okay, so 3?
I managed to gather 1 fragment before Roland reappeared. I also have a confirmed location for the second, which I'll take care of in short order. As for the 3rd fragment, we've identified a general search area to focus on. But we'll need all hands on deck. The final snag is that since our foe is a replica of Roland, he too will be aware of Andreas' history. He's sure to try and sabotage our plans by any means at his disposal. So everyone needs to bring their A game.
With our foe being from Mondstadt, It's our duty as Mondstadters to defeat him.
And since the Wild Hunt is involved, the Lightkeepers will provide their full support.
The Clink Clink Krumkake craft shop will also help in any way we can.
So what do they need me here for? Wait, I think maybe I signed a contract.
Ah, great. Knew I could count on you all. Lastly, our friend from the Curatorium of Secrets will provide intel and relay battlefield communications. Looking at you, Yehoda.
So, you'll be darting back and forth across the battlefield, dodging the Wild Hunt and the shadow of an ancient god. I'm impressed by your courage, Miss Yehoda.
Rating for Yehoda updated. Higher quality ingredients will be used to prepare your future meals.
Darn it! I should have known this payday wouldn't come that easy.
I'll deal with the second Wolf Spirit fragment, which we already know the location of. The moment you make any progress with Fragment 3, be sure to give me an update. Traveler, could you join me in retrieving Fragment 2? I have a feeling that your unique constitution might come. All right, time is of the essence. Let's move out, people. Dismissed!
Está dando sueño, así que en teoría no es tan largo. Hoy una hora y 2. Estoy sudando y tengo sueño. Muchas gracias a todos los que han pasado por Quizá Grecia. Probablemente mañana en la mañana estaré terminándolo. Pero entre el sudor, el sueño, estoy sudando, yo me quiero quitar los audífonos. Bueno, sí, muchas gracias, se cuidan.